Hey everybody, it's Aunt Bibi. Today is Saturday, April 30th, 2022. I'm Barb Hammer. So I'm doing a little test here today. I know I've been missing in action since, I guess, mid-February. I'm sorry about that. But lots of things going on. I'm testing out some equipment for my smartphone and possibly a tablet. So I've got this, my smartphone in a cage to stabilize the image recording. So it's easier to hold on to this, more stable. And I got a microphone that's attached, and it has a foam on it to filter out background noise, wind noise. There's actually two attachments for the microphone. The other is like this fuzzy thing for a really windy day to filter out wind noise. So this is a test. So I'm showing you a little palm tree that's in the back of the condo where we live now. And we moved here a year ago. So we took possession this month. And this time we were just starting to move in. So it's been a year, a lot of adjustment, a lot of things going on. And the COVID mandates have complicated things. The politics here are very complicated. My husband is now on the council trying to straighten up a lot of problems. And there's a lot of prejudice in the building against those who oppose mask mandates and choose not to get the COVID photofaxes. They're not required to live in the building, but I was always expecting something like that. But if you're open, I've been fairly open about my views. I got into trouble. They were trying to impose a mask mandate in the building when there was no mandate here where I live for apartment buildings and condos. And because I opposed that and was actively pointing out that they were breaking the rules about mandates, I had the cops called on me, and my husband and I got a threatening letter. They were going to fine us. The old condo council was going to fine us. So yeah, things been busy. It gets me down, all the mandates, all of that, the COVID psyop. So I've been helping my husband with council business, and we discuss things. And so it's very preoccupying. So I just haven't had the energy to make videos. So many things I would love to talk about. I don't know where to begin, honestly. So many things that, people just don't talk about. Now, my friend Scott Creighton, he tries to fill in the gaps, but it seems like all of the alternative media, they talk about the same thing. And, they say essentially the same thing. And these are career professionals, supposedly, but they're all about self-promotion and building an audience and money and all that. So they don't really, so-called professionals, and there's a lot of research that they just don't do. The only one that I know who actually does this is Scott, really. And he's not on a career path. He just tells the truth, and he's very driven. And thank God for Scott. Anyway, so here's this little palm tree. It's not looking very good. These are popular little palm trees around here, but they're usually wrapped up in winter. I don't think this one got wrapped up in winter to protect it from the cold. So they can survive in a relatively mild winter, which we have here in the Pacific Northwest of British Columbia, the lower mainland, near Vancouver, rather. And I just realized there's actually two little palm trees. There's another little one right here. Yeah, so that's the same type of palm, I'm pretty sure. So if anybody knows what kind of palm this is, I would really like to know. I was doing a bit of a search online, but I could not find it. Anyway, so the last time I made a video, so I was talking about the truckers' convoy movement, and so mandates were lifted uh, somewhat in Canada, and that I think that was because of pressure from the convoy movement, and people were finally they had enough. They were speaking out. Now the convoy movement, there were dodgy elements, opportunists involved there too, but I supported it. And there's actually a Rolling Thunder protesters of some sort, bikers, similar to the truckers convoy, but I don't think their goals are as clear cut. It seems like too much of it is about Justin Trudeau, but he's Trudeau's just a puppet. So it's about, oh, the government is so terrible and everything. Well, who's controlling our government? It's the World Economic Forum, business interests, really. That's what's going on. So I also had a nice interview with Uncle Hotep since I last made a video. And Uncle Hotep is a very open guy. He's on the right, but he's a populist, so he's very common sense. And I really enjoyed the interview. I think he did too. So that was the part, you have to talk to other people. You can't just stay in a little bubble or echo chamber, I guess. But, you know, populists have a lot of shared values. There might be differences. I will point out things that people on the right are not aware of. And there's just been so much brainwashing. I just question everything. Sadly, too many people in the COVID skeptic community, they don't believe the mainstream media about COVID, but they believe everything else about other countries that are targeted, like China and Russia in particular. And since I talked last, the Russian military operation in Ukraine has started, and that is very interesting, and it's very disturbing how Russians, to it's a continuation, really, of what's been going on in that part of the world since the Russian Revolution. And Putin represents some resistance allied closely with China against business interests controlling governments. And so that's why he's demonized so much. And it's really sad how Russians are being demonized. So it's the Nazification of the West, really. And in Ukraine, it's just the history in Ukraine. And I know a fair bit about that from studying Soviet foreign policy and East European politics as an undergrad and a graduate student. But also here in Canada, we have the largest Ukrainian community outside of Ukraine and Russia. And people from Ukraine have come here for 100 years or more, I guess, in different ways. There's also here a large German Mennonite community here, and most of them come from Ukraine. So there's the Heritage Mennonite, the Mennonite Heritage Museum here, and a Canadian Heritage Mennonite Heritage Museum is located here, and I want to go there. I know they've been involved in promoting propaganda about Ukraine and Russia, against anti-Russian propaganda, really. And next Saturday is a Ukrainian cultural festival with just across the river from me in Mission. So I'm planning to try to go to that. That should be interesting. I'm sure there are going to be symbols of the Nazis, different Nazi elements in Ukraine. I'm sure of it because so many groups here, they just promote Stepan Bandera and all the heroes, freedom fighters supposedly in Ukraine, but they were Nazis or Nazi collaborators, but Nazis. Yeah, and Chrystia Freeland, the what is she? She's one of the top government minister in the Canadian government. She has quite a connection to the Nazi movement. Her grandfather was a Nazi collaborator, and she went to Ukraine and started trouble when the Soviets, when Ukraine was a Soviet Socialist Republic. Anyway, so lots of stuff to talk about. Yeah, so I studied Soviet foreign policy and East European affairs. I studied some Russian, so I understand a little bit. It's very rusty. I was not an advanced student or anything, but I can read Cyrillic. and make out some place names and things like that. So, Russians, Ukrainians, the Belarus, people of Belarus, basically the same people. They all have their roots in Ukraine. Yeah, the Russian nation's roots are in Ukraine. And it reminds me of Serbia, so its national roots are in Kosovo. And Kosovo was split off Kosovo from Serbia. And I don't know, there's so much like after World War II. So the Soviet Union, they were allies uh, with the West, US, UK, France. Um, and then right after World War II was Cold War, and the CIA was using Nazis in Eastern Europe as proxy guerrilla warriors. There's a guerrilla warfare against Soviets in the Soviet bloc and in the USSR in Ukraine. Um, and people just are not aware of all this, and it's all about business interests because socialist republics, um, they they did not have they were not business friendly. Let's just say. Anyway, this is just a test. Just want to see how this turns out. See how this is. So anyway, so big palm kind of beat up and a little baby palm. So these palms are supposed to come out because they don't. The building they don't want to have any problems with the roots. So I don't know. They're supposed to come out this year. I don't know if it'll happen. Anyway, that's it for now. Okay, thanks for listening. And I have to try to do a Mayday video. There's a lot of talk about Mayday, Mayday. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you, I hope, tomorrow on May 1st. Okay, bye.